Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, the President will release his budget, and I thought it would be appropriate to stand before you to talk about how we got here today. There has been reckless spending under both Republican and Democrat administrations, but let me be very clear. We do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. What is truly astonishing is that during the course of this 5-minute speech, the national debt will increase by $7 million. In the next 10 years, the debt is predicted to almost double. And furthermore, if the debt were divided evenly, each taxpayer would be responsible for $246,867 in debt. We should have heeded the words of George Washington, who said, "Avoiding likewise the accumulation of debt, not only by shunning occasions of expense, but by vigorous exertion in time of peace, to discharge the debts which unavoidable wars may have occasioned." But it is not only George Washington. Overall, the founders generally disapproved of debt and believed that the amount the country owed should be limited. The U.S. national debt has increased by more than $8 trillion since late January 2020, the majority of which was under the Biden administration. This includes programs like the American Rescue Plan, the infrastructure legislation, which was really the Green New Deal in disguise. Less of half of that funding went to traditional infrastructure, and the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. We can't continue with the status quo. For FY23, Biden proposed a $5.8 trillion budget. The national debt is becoming the leading national security concern. Foreign countries, such as China, hold nearly $870 billion in debt. And it is Biden's executive orders that have led increased regulations, higher inflation, and ultimately higher national debt. Programs such as the Student Loan Forgiveness Program, canceling the Keystone XL pipeline, Waters of the U.S., and other executive orders that have cost Americans nearly $1 trillion. The CBO Budget and Economic Outlook projects the federal deficit of $1.4 trillion in 2023 and averages $2 trillion annually from 2024 to 2033. The president's budget will double down on failed economic policies that have been devastating for millions of hardworking Americans. It locks in historic levels of spending on far-left policies and higher taxes that'll worsen inflation and drive our economy into recession.
Good afternoon, friends. Happy Friday to all of you. Finally, our lawmakers are working on cutting down the costs of everyday goods and services. New legislation has been proposed by Democrats that would make changes to the Internal Revenue Service. President Biden is also hoping that this new bill will benefit low-income households financially. My friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to hear about all the details. Also, I'll be announcing 2 winners in a video later today for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the giveaway, friends, simply click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Now, friends, there are 3 Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives that have introduced a measure. It is to push back against a controversial Republican tax proposal. This proposal would abolish the IRS, eliminate income taxes, and impose a national sales tax. House Republicans introduced the Fair Tax Act in January, shortly after Kevin McCarthy was voted in as Speaker. The legislation proposes to overhaul the U.S. tax system by eliminating the income tax in favor of a 23% to 30% tax on gross payments for taxable property. Democratic Representatives Wiley Nickel, Eric Sorensen, and Brittany Peterson has called the measure extreme. During a press conference, Representative Nickel said, "A 30% sales tax would be a disaster for working families and individuals around the country who are already dealing with high gas prices, exorbitant housing costs, and the rising cost of goods. The three Democrats introduced a House resolution opposing a national sales tax on working families, and instead supporting a tax cut to benefit middle-class families. Their efforts build off of the work of Senators Jon Tester and Jackie Rosen. Negotiations between Kevin McCarthy and members of the conservative House Freedom Caucus cemented a full House vote on the Fair Tax Act, but McCarthy has yet to bring the bill to the floor for debate. The bill would effectively repeal the 16th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which gives Congress the power to establish and collect income taxes. It would also abolish the IRS and institute a tax of 30% on each $100 purchase. Once passed, the tax policy would take effect in the year 2025. GOP lawmakers argue that a national sales tax on goods and services purchased for final consumption will promote savings and investments and spur economic growth. Republican Representative Buddy Carter, who introduced the Fair Tax Act, said it would simplify the tax code. Carter said, instead of adding 87,000 new agents to the IRS, this bill will eliminate the need for the department entirely by simplifying the tax code with provisions that work for the American people and encourage growth and innovation. According to a report released by the Congressional Budget Office, the act would decrease federal spending by over $71 billion in 2023, but it's estimated to also reduce tax revenues by more than $185 billion over the next 10 years. The GOP's tax proposal would add $114 billion to the deficit during that same time frame. The bill will also undermine many of the tax provisions President Biden introduced under the Inflation Reduction Act, including more staffing at the IRS and a 15% corporate minimum tax imposed on companies earning over $1 billion a year. In a January statement, Vice President Harris said, the GOP is rushing to undo the progress and allow too many millionaires, billionaires, and corporations to cheat the system. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on this? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Top White House officials and the head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau are urging states to expand their efforts to crack down on surprise fees that millions of consumers are forced to pay on everything from rental cars, housing, cable bills, and even hotels. The push is part of President Biden's government-wide effort to reduce or eliminate so-called junk fees that jack up costs for consumers. Some agencies have already taken action, including a proposed rule to cut most credit card late fees and a Department of Transportation proposal to require airlines to disclose all fees up front. Biden has vowed to keep attacking the issue on the federal level, but the White House said action by state governments is also essential to rid the U.S. economy of billions of dollars in unnecessary, unavoidable, or surprise charges. So to boost their efforts, the White House will host a meeting with hundreds of state legislators, some of whom will share actions they have taken to reduce or eliminate junk fees by beefing up enforcement, passing new laws, or even changing their contracts with third-party providers. President Biden expects this effort to help Americans save hundreds of dollars every year. Well, my dearest and most amazing friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Friday. My friends, thank you so very much for being here every day and for being part of this community. To show my appreciation, my friends, I will be announcing 2 winners in a video later today for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaways, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My dear friends, the more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you, friends, and have a wonderful and very blessed Friday.